Episode 32. The green orb trembled, its light flickering unsteadily. Hearing Han Li call out his name, he immediately dimmed, only to shine brightly again after a long moment.
You figured it out. You truly are Mo Jiren's disciple, just as troublesome as he was.
The light sphere seemed to accept its fate and began to speak in human language. The voice belonged to that young man. He didn't try to argue or make excuses. He simply admitted that Han Li's guess was correct.
Then, sir, shouldn't you give me some explanation? Tell me the whole story.
Hearing that the other party was indeed one of the conspirators who had plotted against him, Han Li showed not a flicker of anger, remaining perfectly calm and deliberate. But seeing the other party's unruffled composure, Yu Zitong felt a chill run down his spine, a sense of impending doom washing over him. In the recent spiritual sense battle, he had just experienced the ferocity of this fiend, having part of his origin soul devoured alive and losing over half his magic power. The magic power he had left could only let him cast a few minor illusions, with no real offensive power to speak of. Now, facing a real person with no means of self-defense, he was naturally filled with an unspeakable dread.
What do you want to know?
He knew the other had just narrowly escaped death. Their emotions would be unstable, making them extremely dangerous. Don't be fooled by their calm surface. Beneath it, a volcano of rage could be building, ready to erupt. Now that you've been discovered, the best course of action is to cooperate. Don't test their patience with your words.
First, tell me who you really are. Then, recount exactly how you met Dr. Mo and what your original plan was. I have all the time in the world. You can take your time telling the story.
To tell the truth, I'm a victim in all this, too. I was originally a rogue cultivator.
Yu Zitong gave a straightforward and detailed account of his own origins and the entire sequence of events. Of course, in his telling, he painted himself as a poor wretch forced into being Dr. Mo's accomplice, shifting all the blame onto the now dead doctor. Han Li naturally didn't believe everything he said, but by combining it with what Dr. Mo had revealed, he could probably piece together 70 or 80% of the truth.
The part of the story Dr. Mo told me before, about being ambushed and going out to find a way to restore his power, that part was probably true. But the story he told before, about finding a strange book in some mysterious place and using it to recover his power, that was all a lie he made up. It was only because of Yu Zitong that Dr. Mo was able to recover. But it was also because of Yu Zitong that he ended up cursed.
It turned out that Yu Zitong was originally a member of a certain cultivator family. He had cultivated the eternal spring arts to the 7th layer, achieving a certain level of mastery. However, limited by his innate talent, his progress in the eternal spring arts stalled there, unable to meet the formal requirements for foundation establishment. A cultivator who hasn't built their foundation can't be considered a true member of the cultivation world, nor can they truly step into it. So, left with no other choice, Yu Zitong emerged from his secluded retreat. He prepared to venture into the mortal world to gain experience, hoping to find a way to break through the current bottleneck in his state of mind. So, with a mix of motivations, the young man in his 20s, Yu Zitong, stepped into what cultivators called the mortal world. The dazzling outside world was simply too much for Yu Zitong's eyes. His foundation was never that solid to begin with. In just a few years, he had completely fallen, becoming a favored guest in the household of some powerful noble. He began to indulge in the world's luxuries and splendors, and his desire to cultivate immortality gradually faded away. If that were all, then Yu Zitong, though his path to the great Tao was blocked and cultivation was beyond him, could still have expected a long life of 100 years and a lifetime of wealth and honor. While this situation is rare among cultivators before foundation establishment, it's not unheard of. It's nothing to make a fuss about. But whether it was the heavens finally smiling upon him or Yu Zitong's luck finally turning, a few years later, while idly wandering the streets, he made his habitual stop at an apothecary. There, he actually stumbled upon a remarkably rare blood spirit grass. This blood spirit grass looked very similar to the common red oil flower, and the shopkeeper, not knowing its true value, had placed them together.
With this spirit herb, my chances of breaking through the bottleneck are looking very good. Shopkeeper, how much for this medicinal herb?
50 taels of silver.
Done.
Shopkeeper, wait. I'll pay 100 taels. I want that herb.
I just found it.
So what? Who do you think the shopkeeper wants to sell it to?
Since you both want this herb, here's the deal. Whoever offers the highest price gets it.
You. Then I bid 200 taels.
I'll go 250 taels.
I bid 300 taels. Running short on funds. Wrap it up for me, boss.
Right away.
But he wasn't stupid. He knew his opponent wouldn't just let it go. So he fled his lodgings that very night, heading straight for his family's territory. But he'd only made it halfway before his pursuer caught up. The result, naturally, was a fierce battle. His opponent's magic power was far superior. Yu Zitong was beaten until he coughed up blood and fell. But Yu Zitong couldn't bear to part with the Taoist's spiritual medicine. Gritting his teeth, he activated a life-preserving talisman he had brought from his family and used a mutually assured destruction secret technique to scare off his opponent, finally managing to escape. But he was already seriously wounded. In this state, he encountered Dr. Mo, who was also out searching for a cure. It was simply Yu Zitong's fate. He'd been out in the world for a few years, but his experience dealing with the Jianghu's denizens was still far too shallow. After realizing Dr. Mo's physical condition, he inadvertently let slip that he possessed some potent medicine. And just like that, he had invited a fatal calamity upon himself. Dr. Mo was frantic, searching everywhere for a cure to no avail. When he suddenly heard the other party had medicine that could save him, he immediately began to plead desperately. However, the so-called miracle cure Yu Zitong spoke of, while not a rare treasure like the blood spirit grass, was still concocted from over a dozen precious medicinal ingredients. It was refined using a cultivator's method, consuming a great deal of vital energy in the process. He didn't have much of it left on him. In his current gravely wounded state, he cherished them all the more. Why would he ever give them away for free to some insignificant mortal?
Could you give me these precious herbs first, so I can prepare the medicine? My body, it can't hold on any longer. I need these herbs to save my life. I will never forget your great kindness. I will repay you for this one day.
Don't even think about it. I need this medicine for myself. I'm not giving it to you.
Enraged and humiliated, Dr. Mo decided to kill him. He secretly followed Yu Zitong to a secluded spot and poisoned him from behind with a secret concoction.
Normally, a common poison would have no effect on Yu Zitong, but the secret concoction Dr. Mo used was so potent, even he didn't fully understand its power. It worked instantly, catching his target completely off guard. Already grievously wounded, Yu Zitong now had poison ravaging his heart, leaving him on the brink of death. At that moment, Dr. Mo revealed himself and began to search the man's body with brazen confidence.
Seeing this, Yu Zitong instantly understood the whole story. In a fit of rage, he acted without thinking, unleashing the blood-spattering ghost curse. He transformed all his vital essence into a single bloody incantation and spat it onto Dr. Mo's head. Then his origin soul abandoned its fleshly vessel and silently drifted out of his body.
After his origin soul left his body, Yu Zitong realized his plan was flawed. He hadn't prepared a magic tool to house it. With no other choice, he slipped into Dr. Mo's body, temporarily averting the danger of his soul dissipating. The blood splattered over Dr. Mo's head. He was startled at first, but after finding nothing amiss, he thought no more of it. Relying on his knowledge of pills, he identified the few pills on the corpse and, delighted, gleefully swallowed them. Sure enough, the medicine worked like a charm, and his strength was fully restored. Dr. Mo gathered the items he had looted from the body, along with an incomprehensible manual for the eternal spring arts, and prepared to set off back to Lanzhou. He was ready to exact his revenge and reclaim his former glory. But Dr. Mo's joy was short-lived. The power of the soul corrosion curse soon manifested itself. He began to age at a terrifying rate, growing older by a year with each passing day. Meanwhile, Yu Zitong's origin soul was not faring any better. It turned out that after Yu Zitong entered Dr. Mo's body, over time his origin soul began to show signs of being assimilated by the hosts. This assimilation is a form of passive possession. It's a vicious phenomenon where a foreign origin soul lingering too long in another's body is unconsciously and gradually influenced by the host's own origin soul. In the end, only one consciousness can survive. Left with no other choice, Yu Zitong turned his thoughts to active possession. He hadn't resorted to possession out of any sense of kindness. He was afraid of the 3 ironclad rules that governed it in the cultivation world. The first rule: a cultivator must never attempt possession on a mortal. If they do, the mortal body will be unable to withstand the process and will simply collapse. Second, possession can only succeed when the one with higher magic power targets one with lower magic power. This avoids a backlash. The greater the gap in power, the safer the attempt. Third, a cultivator may only attempt possession once in their lifetime, regardless of their magic power. A second attempt will utterly annihilate their origin soul. These 3 ironclad laws, unbroken through countless attempts, have reined in countless villains who sought to use possession to stir up trouble, and countless opportunists who tried to use it to escape calamity. Heaven has placed warnings against such defiance of the natural order. It would not allow cultivators to use this technique to plunge the world into chaos, a situation that would spiral out of control. So, if Dr. Mo were a cultivator, Yu Zitong wouldn't have been afraid at all. He'd have been happy to fight him for this body.
But Dr. Mo was just a mortal, utterly incapable of withstanding a possession. Even if he found another body to hide in, he couldn't escape being assimilated again. In fact, things could get even worse. His magic power would diminish drastically with every single entry and exit of his origin soul.
It would soon be completely depleted, leaving him unable to move freely between bodies. He would be trapped within another's flesh, and ultimately assimilated. Now that he was an origin soul, he had no physical body to meditate and replenish his magic power. This magic power was a finite resource. It dwindled with every use and gradually faded over time. He had no idea how much longer he could hold on. Therefore, unless Yu Zitong could find a cultivator with low magic power who could also withstand possession, he would never risk leaving his origin soul again.